Hello, I'm Robert Walker for Doomsday Debunked, fact-checking stories that scare you, Facebook group. And this time it's about this asteroid story, which is, I'm getting fair few people asking me about it. Now, you see at the top it says Daily Express. If it says Daily Express at the top, then it's just junk. It says Asteroid Terror, and NASA haven't done any warning. Look, NASA spot mammoth space rock to hit Earth's orbit 5 days before Christmas. I mean, what does that even mean? I just could see when people shared this story to me on Facebook, and even without looking at the Daily Express, you could tell that was not written by anyone who knew anything about astronomy, just from the title. How can a rock hit an orbit? The orbit is Earth's path around the Sun. It's not Earth. It's Earth's path around the Sun. And there's nothing there, there's nothing in space. It's like where Earth is going to go next. Like next day, next year, next day, next week, next month. Where Earth is going to be a week from now. So, that was a very, very silly title just to start with. And then if you go down, it says, an asteroid the size of the World Trade Center is on a dangerous earthbound orbit that could see the rock smash the planet during Christmas festivals. I mean, honestly, smash the planet. They love their very vivid words, these sensationalist press. So these people, and you can tell from the phrasing of that sentence too, I mean, these are people who write to thrill and entertain you. They're not writing to inform you. This is a typical red-top tabloid, as we call them in the United States, in the United Kingdom. They're just out to kind of go, wow, this amazing, crazy, scary thing, aliens are flying around in little spaceships, and giant tripods and huge insects have come out of the ground in India, and the world has few of these most extraordinary things that are going on, or whatever. They'll just make anything up. So anyway, the asteroid known as 2006 WH1, that is the name of a genuine asteroid, is set for its closest approach just days before Christmas. They say 540 meters. They don't actually know what size this thing is exactly. It's currently thought to be hurtling at a speed of 40,200. That sounds very, very fast. But an asteroid, Earth's going very fast. Earth's going at 300 kilometers per second. So, 30 kilometers per second, if I work that out. I know what that is in miles per hour. 30 kilometers per second in miles per hour. This is how fast Earth is going. Earth is travelling at 67,000 miles an hour. So, if I got that right, something like that. So, that's just normal for an asteroid. It's travelling at roughly the same speed as Earth. It's not going. They're usually going in the same direction as us around the Sun. Nearly everything goes around the same way. If they're going in the opposite direction, they're going much faster. And the asteroid's course relative to us. The asteroid's and then it says, the asteroid's course could be further influenced by natural phenomena known as the Yarkovsky effect. I mean, the Yarkovsky effect is a genuine astronomical thing. And it was in the news back in 2004, because there's one particular asteroid called Apophis, which was going to go through a gravitational keyhole, which means it's going to go very, very close to Earth. The Earth's gravity drops off very quickly. Within a few thousand kilometers, it's halved. And then, like the Earth's radius, let's get its radius up. I think 6,000 or so. Earth's radius is 6,356 kilometers. So 6,000 kilometers. We are 6,000 kilometers away from the center, and you can the Earth works like as if it was all contained at its center. You can work that out from the mass. So if you go double the distance, which is another 6,000 kilometers, then you get a quarter of the gravity. Double it again, so you got to 24,000. Then from the center, then it would be a 16th of the gravity. So the gravity goes off very quickly, and if something is going past Earth quite close, then the gravity is very different depending where it passes by, and so it'll bend more or less depending on its distance. And so when Apophis, when it was coming very close to Earth in 2029, then it comes closer than geostationary, which is about 30,000 kilometers away. That's close enough so the gravity is still varying very, very quickly. And it turned out that if its position, and then it's sort of, instead of going like that, it goes like that, curves around more, then and if it was moved just a couple of 100 meters, it could change a hit on Earth to a miss. So that is a gravitational keyhole. It doesn't make any sense. You're not going to hit a gravitational keyhole 1 million miles away from Earth. It doesn't even make sense. So they talk about gravitational keyholes, and then if you had a gravitational keyhole, then the Yarkovsky effect can make a difference, because the Yarkovsky effect is just the heat from the sun heating up the asteroid and then being radiated away. And you can imagine just the gentle pressure of sunlight and it being radiated away. It's a very, very gentle force. It can shift an asteroid by maybe on the order of 10 or more kilometers in a decade. The Earth's diameter, remember, is 12,000 kilometers. So you're not going to, and this thing, I can't remember how far away it's going to be on the 20th. I'll find out in a minute when we go to its orbital diagram, but I think it's millions of kilometers away. It's not, the Yarkovsky effect is not going to even shift it by as much as its own diameter, even in a decade. And that you're talking about something going to happen in a week or two. So to say the asteroid's course could be further influenced by the Yarkovsky effect by maybe a few meters. So what? And they using the Yarkovsky effect, they found, but they always use the Yarkovsky effect. I very much doubt if this is an actual real announcement from NASA this is based on. I don't know where they get these things from. But I mean that you could say, NASA just published a thing about this asteroid, but I can't find anything from NASA about it. And there's this page. You can go and look up any asteroid, and you can find this page. And there's the page for this one. So they just found a random asteroid, as far as I can tell, and then filled them and then made up the rest. They say it hasn't yet been measured, but it will likely be listed as a serious threat when and if it is added. It has not been measured on the Torino impact hazard scale, because that is a scale for asteroids that have a risk for Earth. This has never even been considered as a risk, because they know absolutely for certain that it can't come anywhere near us. That's the reason why it hasn't been occurred in this scale, because they already know that it can't hit us for centuries, probably thousands of years into the future. And it hasn't yet been measured. You don't use this scale unless like for instance a couple of asteroids, 1950 DA is an asteroid that's a tiny, tiny chance of an impact in 2880. And it's expected to miss. And it'd be very easy to deflect in all those centuries in between, in that very, very remote chance. It doesn't have a Torino scale, even zeros in Torino scale, because it only counts for if they're looking into the possibility of it hitting in the next century. Once they proved it can't hit in the next century, it no longer has a Torino scale. So the Torino scale, it doesn't even apply to ones that where they're looking at the possibilities centuries in the future. So that's why it doesn't have a Torino scale. And then you go on explaining about the collision scale and saying that 10 means it's as certain as if this could get a 10. It can't even get a 0, it can't get anything. And then they have this very misleading diagram. This is full of mistakes. They repeat it over and over again. I've got a debunk of it. Numbers, I mean, probably they fixed that error. probably 1 in 1,000. They said 1,000 over 1 in the previous version of that. That to me was an absolute, but 1,000, that doesn't even make sense as a probability. But these are far distant one, 2080 to that's 2027. But I mean, is that I don't think they got the one right. I somewhere I've got a debunk for all those, but I can actually look that one up. And then Apophis, this one, that's the one that I was telling you about. That's the one that has had the gravitational keyhole in 2029. We have now got until 2068, but it's expected to miss. And as it does its flyby on 2029, they will find out more about it when it does that flyby, and they'll be following it with radar, and they'll have it very, very exactly. And so then I expect they'll find out then that it's going to miss in 2068, if not before. Because when you've got these 1 in 150,000, that means you've got 149,999 chances to 1 that when they find out a bit more, they will prove it misses. So that's what you expect, but it's very, very easy. Apophis is extremely easy to deflect. They found that if you put, this is not an actual picture of it, they don't know what it looks like, but I'm not sure if they've got radar imaging of that one, but that's certainly not an image of it. But they found that if you've got a micron thick, like solar sail material, and you put a little patch on it, 225 by 225, but it's got a flyby of a keyhole, and that's enough to turn a hit into a miss, a clear miss, where there's no chance of it hitting, so that's several diameters away in a decade, just by putting that on and changing that very, very minute Tchaikovsky effect before it goes through a keyhole. So it's very easy to deflect. If it does turn out that it could hit in 2068, and it would have keyholes before then it goes close by in 2060, and sometime between 2029 and 2060 you put this sheet onto it, and that would be enough. So that's not a problem. This is a far future one, and then these ones, well, JO14 I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's debug that while we're here. So yes, well, the scale 1 ones were relatively common, and they changed it from normal to a more specialist way of putting it for astronomers. I can't remember what it was. Not because there were risks, but because the sensational press, like the Daily Express, were continually saying that it's saying these very scary things about it. But it didn't really make much difference, because they're still saying scary things, even about one that doesn't even have a Torino scale. So it doesn't really make that much difference, but they did what they could. And that's it. So there isn't really that much to debunk there. So, but I just want to show you now. So I'll come back and debunk that in a minute. Where is it? That page. I'll try and find that thing. Yes, so I'll have a look at that. But meanwhile, so we go and look at, this is the asteroid that they if you look in my, I'll put a link to this in the video description. This is how you find out about these asteroids. If you just go and search for object on my page, that I'll give you a link, enter the name, and then it will say it was not found in the Sentry database or as a removed object. So just to explain what that means in the techy paper, you don't have to do this, but this is what I'm doing for you in that form. It is what it does when you click search there, and it says getting data from NASA, and then it says it can't hit Earth. What my program does in the background there is, first of all, it searches this form. Well, it doesn't search the form, it searches the NASA has a published data. It exposes its data for any program to interrogate it over the internet with published parameters, and you send them a query with the parameters, and then they tell your website the answer to what that query is. So I do a query and I check, and I ask their database, does it exist? And they say no. So that's that bit. And then I send them another query and I say, is it, and I ask them to check their removed objects database, and their server returns and says no. So that's all that is doing. And so I write, and so my program writes out that it was not found in the Sentry database or as a removed object. It's just a shortcut to save you clicking those two searches yourself. And that means it can't hit Earth in the next century. It means it isn't in the database and never was in it. Some of those asteroids can hit us thousands or millions of years into the future, but it's the all clear for now. And then you can go to the orbit diagram in this one. So now I'll go to the orbit diagram. Well, I'll go to the observations first. So true observations. I think I already brought it up. So this is how they know about it. So you can see there were loads and loads of observations in 2006. And you see how many there were? They obviously had a very, very close look at it in 2006. See? This is the position in the sky. This is the observatory. So lots of different observatories were observing it. And this is the date, and that's the date, and that's including the day and the exact time of day. And if you have a computer program that can calculate orbits, you can put the exact date and day into it. You can put the position in the sky, and then if you give it, I think, 6 of those numbers, it'll already have worked you out a rough orbit. No, I think it's even 3. I should have looked that up. I can't remember. If you give it several of those numbers, it'll already have worked out a rough orbit as the only orbits that can fit those 3 positions, or those 6, or whatever the number is. Sorry, I am not myself an orbit calculator, but I know how it works. So you put these numbers into your program, and then it'll give you a rough orbit straight away, and that's what the Minor Planets Center does, and that's what the Center for Near Earth Object Studies do, and that's what any amateur could do using one of these programs. But the Center for Near Earth Object Studies have a far, far more sophisticated one. It surely runs on a supercomputer and stuff, and it takes account of all the planets, our moon, and I think there's 16, all the largest asteroids and the gravitational effects of them, which are very, very minute. And then if you've got enough of these observations, then you find out that it doesn't exactly follow an elliptical orbit, or perfect elliptical orbit, and from that you can calculate things like the Advocacy effect. You say it's just, you can see it just, especially if you've got over a number of years, you find it's a few kilometers out from where it should be, and so therefore you get the Advocacy effect. And that's how they calculate it. And so all those things for 2006. So they had quite a lot of observations there for several months. Where did they first find it? They spotted it on October 23rd, 2006. And they were continually spotting it, and lots of observations every day, lots of observations all the way through December, going on and on, and then they eventually lost track of it on the 24th of December 2006. So from October through to December. So why did they lose track? Well, this is the orbit that they found for it, and I have set it to October, to that time. So here it is, and then we can just go forward and see. Let's go forward a step. And there it is. So they're gradually going through. Goes close to Earth, 2006, and then it goes away again. And when it came close to Earth, that we're still in 2006. Does it give the date there somewhere? Yes, it'll give the date here somewhere. We're on the 1st of, oh sorry, no, I thought that was meant to be for 2006. I got confused. Now, I think 2006 is over the other side. So just a minute. But you can see there, you can see how far away it misses Earth. Remember, this is very, very high scale. So set it to 2006 and set it to October. I can't remember, what's it, 24th? Was it 20? The first observation they had. Set it right up to the top. Uh, 23rd. Where do I click? So that's when they saw it. Also, it was the same size as it is now. That's why I got a bit confused. But let's check. Yeah, it's October 23rd. Let's bring the size down a little bit so we can see the date. So now if we click through, so there it was. So they saw it way back there. Way you can't see where I'm pointing with my pointer. So they saw it way out there. I was just pointing at the screen. I was rather new to this. So there you see it going through, and then they're going through November. You can see the date being updated there at the bottom. So they observed it all the way through there, through to December, and then they lost it sometime around. When did they lose it? I wonder why they lost it. I was expecting it to sort of be on the either very far away or on the sunny side of Earth at that point. I wonder why they couldn't see it anymore. Last observation was the 24th. 12:20, they missed it by then. Perhaps someone who is expert at asteroid tracking I mean, it could. No, I don't quite understand that. There's Earth, there's the asteroid. And then it passed on, and then you'd expect them to have lost it by then, because that's on the sunny side. Oh, I know. It might be that it was approaching from the. It might be that it was the wrong hemisphere or something. That we have more. I think we have more telescopes in the northern hemisphere, and especially back then. Yeah, it was southern hemisphere. That's the problem. I think back then they especially didn't have many really big telescopes in the southern hemisphere. They do now. Looking far enough south. I mean, they still have a bit of a gap in the southern hemisphere, looking very far south. So that would be why they stopped getting it then. Why are you playing? Stop. Right. So now, so that's that. So it was, although it was coming closer and closer to Earth, I think it dipped too far into the southern hemisphere for the telescopes which were mainly on the northern hemisphere just then, especially in 2006, the big ones that were searching for it. That's my guess. But if you are an expert on this, do tell me and correct me if I got anything wrong in this. So anyway, so now we go and look at where it is today. Up there again. Now we go to 2019, and what are we with November 11, I think now. So let's see how we've got here. I've got to click there again, a bit unusually, and then we find it. There we are. So it's approaching Earth. So I mean, this is the way it works. It actually looks it's a bit ahead of us because it's in a bigger orbit, and just so you can see, I mean that's why we haven't seen it all that time. It's been way away. It's been way out beyond Mars most of the time. And now it's coming back in again. It's an Apollo because it's crossing Earth's orbit. It's mainly on the outside. So now, as you see, the Earth is going around faster than it is. It's in a much slower orbit than Earth is. And so it seems to be ahead of us, but Earth is catching up on it. bigger the orbit, the slower it is. And then if it gets very close to the Earth on a big orbit, it speeds up as it gets closer. So anyway, so now we watch it travelling forward again. This is today, tomorrow, going forward to get the date again. That's high enough so I can see. So that's the 26th, and we want to go forward to the 20th, don't we? 20th of December. And then there we are. That's its closest. That is really, really far away. I don't think it's dots are even to scale. Now, if you zoom in, they don't change size. So it's how far away is it? So its distance from Earth is 0.039 AU. So you don't even need to know what AUs are. It's actually an AU is the distance to the is the distance to the Sun. 1 AU is the distance to the Sun from Earth. AU in kilometers. It is 5.8 million kilometers, or if you prefer miles. And it's 3.6 million miles. Now, if you, and I put this into a bit more context, we don't even come across millions of miles really. The circumference of Earth is 40,000 kilometers. It looks like a suspiciously round number. The reason is because the kilometer was originally defined in terms of the circumference of the Earth, if I remember right. And so actually 40,000 kilometers. So 0.39 kilometers in miles. It's now got a different definition. So because that wasn't precise enough, obviously. So divide that by 40,000, and we get. So what I'm trying to do here is, if you it's quite reasonable in a jet to travel all the way around the Earth, around the circumference, in 24 hours. So suppose you had a jet that's travelling at that speed, then how long would it take to get there? And the answer is 145 days. So it's 145 days travel at the same speed as a jet that was travelling around the Earth continuously, day on day on day on day, and at fast enough to go all the way around in 24 hours. So, and if you kept on doing that for 145 days, then you would get out to how far away this will be at its closest on December the 20th. So, sometimes you get ones that are completely harmless that come very closer to that, and they still absolutely know that they're not going to hit Earth, because they just know its orbit very well, and they know even for 1,000 years into the future they might know it's not going to hit Earth, even though it does come quite close. But I mean, this one, this diagram is scaled to the solar system, and that's huge distance between Earth and the Sun. And this is, if you take 145 days travelling at a speed that will take you around the Earth in 24 hours in a passenger jet to get from there to there. That's how far away it is. So I think that's enough for 2006 WH1. Oh, and then they also give this value for its size. I don't think, I mean, if you go to the JPL page, if they had worked out the size, that's why I said I think that's just made up. And because you would have thought that if they had worked it out, they would put in the physical parameters. They have absolute magnitude and rotation period. They don't have a diameter. I can't see a diameter, and that's all about the orbital elements. And these are only physical parameter data. I think that's where they put the. So what you have to do, if you want to work out its diameter, you take the absolute magnitude, and then you go to the asteroid size estimator. You put it in. I've already done that. Now, the average albedo of an asteroid is 0.3, so that will make it 340 meters. Now, what size did they make it? So they obviously didn't put, I've got to do those, I've got to remember to do those before I finish this. So they made it 540. So they must have used, maybe they used 0.11. That's another, so let's try 0.11, but I'm not sure if that would bring it up to 137 though. They must have used those darker albedo. I mean, it's possible, but that somewhere, they use 0.2. What did they say? 0.54, no, it's could be more. 0.1, 0.05. There, they assumed an albedo of 0.05. Quiz knows why, maybe to make it a bit bigger. Now, the very darkest albedo could be 0.01. Not likely to be much less. That's very dark for an asteroid. That would make it 1.2 kilometers, which is, and they talk about smashing into the Earth. I mean, 1.2 kilometers is barely big enough to be able to create some global effects. It creates a nice big crater in a desert, most likely in a desert. It would splosh into the middle of the sea, and if it was close to the sea, that could cause a mega tsunami if it was very close to a city. But it's at 1.2 kilometers. If it fell into a desert or into the middle of the sea, or if it fell into a desert, it would put enough dust up into the atmosphere to make the, and depending on the speed of the impact and things, then to make it to impact on crops, make the Earth a little bit colder for, I don't know, a few weeks or a month or two, and then the dust kind of falls out, and it just gets too thin to no longer be. Next year, it's not going to be much of an issue. And I think at this size, you would probably, if you knew it was going to hit, you would probably stock up extra crops or sow crops that you knew would be able to handle a little bit of cooling if you knew it was going to hit and not going to and you couldn't for some reason deflect it. But no, that's not a problem. And then also, if you go and look at my one, I'll choose one. Now this is a big, but it's very unlikely it's that big. Yeah, I must lose track of my what I'm saying. Asteroid style calculator. It could be anything between 1.2 kilometers. If I delete that, it hopefully shows the range 0.9. So if it's very bright, it would be only 130 meters wide. So they don't know if it's like very white or very dark black, because all they have is little photographs of one dot. Most of these photographs are taken in a single wavelength, single frequency, because the objective is to scan as much of the sky as possible in these big scans. At least I think they are. Maybe they do more. Again, yes, I haven't checked that, but they don't do the spectrum. They're not enough resolution. They haven't got enough frequencies to be able to work out the spectrum. You need the spectrum in order to get an idea of how dark or bright it is. And so, for most of them, they just have never done that, because they're not focusing their attention on that particular asteroid. It's just one of hundreds. I mean, look at it, and this again, I haven't brought that up. I will just bring it up. I'll show you just how many of these things are approaches. Remember, they're passing by millions of kilometers. So if you choose to go to these close approaches table, and I will bring up the past ones. It'll take a little while to come up. Let's delete some of these things. Move these tabs. Are we at it? Oh. And what is that I'm looking at? Oh, that was the albedo for asteroids. So we find average albedo is 0.13, and there can be 0.29, 0.26 or 0.42 common classes. So we could put those in as well and just say, we don't know which it is, but it's quite likely to be one of those. 0.29 would be, 20.2. 0.29. 0.23, let's double check, it was 20.2, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, wrong place. 20.2. So 0.29 would be 23, would be 230, and then 0.26 would be rather similar, then go to 0.42, So those are 3 of the most common asteroids that you get, types of asteroids you get. But those are just the averages, because both of those are variable. And another one would be 190 meters. So yes, here we are, close approaches. So let's look at the upcoming. Let's look at the upcoming ones. I hope you're not going to get scared by all these. So November 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 20, 21. Often many are going past the same day. Remember, they're going past millions of kilometers. And so now, yes, so December the 20, and there's December 20, that's the one they're talking about. December 21, December 7, and it's usually not even the closest one. Look, there's a closer one on December the 22nd, but they didn't bother looking at that one. Oh, it's got an estimated diameter here. Yeah, look, the estimated diameter is 280, so they didn't get it from here for some reason. See, estimated based on the albedo. That's probably using the 0. What was our 0.13? I can't remember what ours was. That's right, size 0.13. Yeah, so that they're using a brighter albedo for the estimate there. Maybe 0.2. No. Anyway, whatever, 270. Yeah, maybe using about 0.2, but a little bit more, a little bit less. 0.19 it seems. Guess 0.19. What did they say there? 280. Oh, 19. Yeah, they're using an albedo of 0.19 as their average, or roundabout. Anyway, so that's 2006 WH1. So that's 280. So there's one at 400 meters. Look, there's a 400 meter one, and that's passing by closer, you see. And there's a 140 meter one. So they just I think they just literally take a pin and go, close their eyes and go pin like that, click it, and then they just hit that one, and so they decide to run a story about it. But they obviously didn't get it from here because they've got a different figure, so I'm not sure where they got it from, or they just made it up. Anyway, so they're all passing by. It looks very alarming, but you've got to remember that space is vast. It's almost impossible for us to grasp how much space there is. Remember, I was talking about planes, travelling in a plane for nearly a third of a year, more than a third of the year. And many of them will be travelling, most of those will be even further than that. Half a year travel, a year of travel away. And the Earth, by comparison, is a tiny, tiny spot. And then all these asteroids going past at vast distances, most of them. The only ones that matter are the ones that could hit us. And obviously one that flies past at millions of miles or millions of kilometres. I mean, you just forget about them. And from the observations, and you can see, I mean, they observe them very great detail. And this one is being observed now. Look, it's being observed. They've observed it in 2019. They've been observing it since October the 5th through to October the 23rd. I wonder why I haven't got any yet for November. But maybe it's, yeah, maybe it's, I don't know, I'm not going to speculate as to why they have some gap. Is it already? No, it's not already travelling away. Anyway, so anyway, so they're observing it very closely, and they see exactly where it is in the sky. To, got 5 decimal places there. There might well be more internally. On the exact place in the sky. Oh no, that's the time of the day. So that's a tiny fraction of a second. That's the position in the sky, and that's a great deal of deep precision as well. So that's, oh yes, so now I've got to go back and look at these, because they scared you. Somewhere I think somewhere I've got a debunk of that diagram. Actually, maybe I think I've got a label debunk of it somewhere. Anyway, those two we've talked about. That's 2040. It's only 140 meters, and that'll be easy to deflect on a very, very remote chance. 2014 JO25. And these are just random ones. No idea why they picked these ones. Is that what it said? I should have done a copy paste. No, I can't do it. 2014 JO25. I've got two of them mixed up. If you get the first two things are letters, so if you get, it's not a J0, it's a JO. But my search checks both. Oh yes, so that's one that can't hit Earth. Oh, and I think the other one was as well. Yes, remember debunking it. Yes, so that JO1 for JO25, they say probability 1 over 83,000. If you go and check, it's another for these ones that can't hit Earth. I'll just double check. Yes, I got the name right, and it just said that's another one that can't hit Earth. And then if you go and look at the 2014 AG5, that's another one I think. AG5. Oh, now this is just a little trick about my thing. It auto-completes because that means that it wasn't in either of the databases. And so my program, very helpfully, will say, oh, you can't mean 201 for AG5 because it isn't there. So it'll auto-complete it. So switch off auto-complete. And it's another one that isn't there. And then you can, and again, go through and we can click there. So they all like the one at the top. So there we are. And so they have this this graphic that they keep repeating, and those two are just, they're just made up probabilities. That's just made up by some journalist. Because it never was in the list. It's not like what used to be in it and was removed. If it was in it and never had a probability, then it would be a removed object. It isn't. So some journalists just said, oh, I'll pick a couple of asteroid names at random and I'll give them a random probability that looks scary. And 1 over 625 looks very scary, and 1 over 83,000, and then let's give it to this random asteroid and add in some asteroid drawings. And then they add in Bennu, which is a genuine thing, but I don't know if that probability is right. You know, let's look at Bennu and 2182. Actually, I can find Bennu in the thing up here. So if I look up, where's Bennu? Oh no, I've got rid of it's a far future object. So I probably got it to say options, to go to more table options. Right. More table options and far future objects. So now if I go back to tracked, and then it'll show Bennu there. Far future. So mine puts far future to say that's what it is. So click on Bennu, and then we're looking at the 2182. For that, I need to say show odds for future dates. Show the future dates. Because for some reason they put 2182 instead of 2175, which is first account possibility. So if we keep on going through to 2182, and the two possibilities in 2182, and they have put 2182 1000 to 1 in 1000. The two possibilities in 2182 are 290,000 to 1, 91 million to 1, and 710,000 to 1. So the smallest of all those is 290,000 to 1, which they have changed into 1,000 to 1. And then finally, let's look at Apophis and see if they got that number right. They probably haven't, but I mean, it's possible they have. Maybe they got one. See if they got one thing right. in this diagram. So they had 2068, and that's 150. Is that still has it got yes, Apophis? 2068, 150,000. They've got two possibilities: 150,000 and 130 million. No, 130 billion. No, yes, two. So 150,000. What did they put? They got the 150,000. So there's one figure right in this image. That the Apophis, 2068, 150,000. That is correct. That is just a lie. Just someone randomly put a number into an asteroid that never had a probability. That is a lie. There's no way that's a mistake. I don't see how it can be a mistake. Very hard to see how that can be a mistake, because they got the specific asteroid and the year 2027 and the probability, and this was never in the table, and that's the same for that. So it just looks like a lie to me. They do tell lies. The Daily Express, like the Sun, the red top tabloids are well known for telling lies in the UK. The most famous story was a story in the Sun, which is another red top tabloid, the same genre as this, and they claimed that a famous, I can bring it up, Freddie Starr ate a hamster. They ran a story saying this comedian had eaten a hamster in a sandwich. There you are, the most famous red top tabloid story of all time. Freddie Starr ate my hamster. So this lady, according to them, is claiming Comet put a live pet in sandwich, says Beauty. And this was just made up. He never ate any hamster. She did have a pet hamster. That's the only thing that's true about that. They said, no, I don't think she did. I'm not sure if she did. I remember reading up the whole thing. I'm not sure if there even was a hamster. There might have been. Or they might have just got it from the pet shop for the purpose of the story. I don't know. I can't remember now. So this is the kind of thing, the kind of place that you're getting. That was the Sun, rather than, if you go and look at that, and Freddie Starr ate my hamster, that's called the Sun. And it's called the red top tabloid because they have this red thing on the top. The Daily Express is another newspaper of the same ilk. And so now, if you now go to, say, NASA asteroid warning, and you click for that in Daily Express, go to news, and these are all the comics eating hamsters in sandwich type news source. It's all Daily Express. The entire front page is Daily Express in Google News. And I think you have to go to page 10, it's all Daily Express. They have spammed Google News. I think there's at least 100 results of Daily Express stories in the Google News. Far more than that, because I think all of these, nearly all of these, because there never has been a NASA asteroid warning. So if you search for NASA asteroid warning, you're only going to find fake news, and the very, very occasional debunk. So that's the Independent. I think that's the first one in this list that is not, and another Independent. It just says it's going to pass. I don't know what that warning is, but it's not a real warning. There's mine. No NASA asteroid warning. Mine very occasionally go near the top if I do it at very early on. In International Business Times, they are as bad as the Daily Express. There's the Sun, the one I was telling you about, and there's CNET saying NASA will totally warn us if an asteroid apocalypse is happening, and then you've got the Mirror. That's another one of these. So that's the only one. That's a kind of debunked, but only by the CNET. And if you want to actually look for the actual astronomy magazines, Science Alert, there's it's very, very hard to find them here. There was one on page 12 the other day, Earth Sky, but it doesn't seem to be here anymore. Or maybe it's moved further down. Maybe it's page 13 or something. I think that was the first astronomy one. Actually, an actual astronomy magazine. Earth Sky, there we are. It's now down to page 13. So it's been pushed an extra page down by all the Daily Express ones. And so there we go. Earth Sky and NASA didn't warn us about it, nor did ESA. So 2006 QV89, which is another one that was scaring people earlier this year. And Earth Sky, way down, that's 100, let's go, that'd be 130, no, 120, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 125 down of the main search results before you get to the first one that's actually cited to a reputable source. I wouldn't call CNET a particularly good source on asteroids, although it's a lot better than Daily Express. But really, you want to go to the astronomy, the ones written for astronomers, and Google News should put this right at the top. And it shouldn't put Daily Express there at all. It just shouldn't be there. None of these should be in Google News. It's not news. It's fantasy. It's fake news and fantasy, written to thrill by the people who bought us Freddie Starr ate a hamster. Yeah, the same kind of people who wrote Freddie Starr ate my hamster is now. And so if this was back then, whenever that was, what date was it? I can't. If Google News was back then, see if it's got it. Oh, you can't read the date. Oh, then Wikipedia will have it. So if Google News, are we doing? Wikipedia would be called right on this. It'd probably be the first. So Freddie Starr ate my hamster. It's very famous. And then on 13th in 1986. So if Google News was running, if this was Google News in 1986, then where's my search results gone? Yeah, so if it was Google News in 1986, we go Freddie Starr, probably just Freddie Starr, and you'll probably find it on Freddie Starr. Freddie Starr ate my hamster. You want to check if Freddie Starr did eat a hamster. So you type in Freddie Starr ate my hamster because you just read it in the Daily Express. And of course, you're all going to get all that. And so, but if you were going back then, you went on Freddie on the news, then you would get, instead of getting all this, it would just say Freddie Starr ate my hamster. You would just get pages and pages, all the Google, the UK tabloid, and then all the people read nowadays. As soon as a UK tabloid puts one of these striking stories up, then you get people all the way around the world reblogging it. Certain ones pick up particular things. You certainly get it on YouTube. YouTube would be full of it. You'd have lots and lots of videos of Freddie Starr saying Freddie Starr ate my hamster. So that is what's going on here. I think Google News, if you put, so that's just same. This is just the same thing. Put in NASA asteroid warning, and you might as well be typing in Freddie Starr ate my hamster in 1986. And Google News, I think at the very least, it should put down there something like sensationalist press or red top tabloid with an info box, so you click on it and you know what a red top tabloid is, so that you know it is fake news. And then, the search results are just useless for if you want to search about asteroids, because it's just filled with the Daily Express. So if they want to make their search results actually useful, they should at the very least have a little checkbox somewhere saying to show the red top tabloid news, show fake news, basically, have a fake news checkbox. And I've actually got a petition. Yes, I'll just end with this. I'll bring up my petition on change.org. My petitions. My petitions, I've got 3 petitions, but there's one particularly relevant here. So I think that's what I just did for fun. Some of you, I'll just mention that briefly. It's got 2 supporters, well, me and someone else. Save us. So I just want to show. Where to show the petition. Show the petition. So this is to show you that you get lots of change.org petitions, and they're not always going to be actually accurate. So just for fun, I've said this: save us from the giant spaghetti monster. The CIA is talking to it every day, and it wants to turn us all into spaghetti. Tell the CIA to stop this outrage. We need to be able to grow spaghetti on Italian spaghetti plantations without the risk of us all turning into spaghetti. See video here, which is about the famous fool. So that's an example petition to show that anyone can put anything up as a change.org petition. So before signing any petition here, be sure to check it for yourself. But mine isn't about a spaghetti monster, so let's go to my real ones. So yes, this is so I've got 3 ones. I've got the but you see, sadly, it's not got that is, sorry, I should remove that, because that was all sorted out ages ago. Then there's the to YouTube, they never actually did, it was no problem. So that's to YouTube, and this is to the journalists. Maybe I'll do a separate little video for this, because I'd like to bring it up and see if I can attract some attention on YouTube, especially that one. And there's some awful videos on YouTube that just make money by scaring kids as young as 7. And I don't think that the advertisers want to be earning money from scaring kids by telling them that they're about to be killed by an asteroid, or a neutron star in this case, an absolute ridiculous story. And people, and then young kids saying on it, I'm only 7, I don't want to die. And this chap, he must be kind of like what we call in the layperson terms sociopathic, but he's actually whatever it means. I don't know what, but he clearly doesn't care in the least about having a video, as long as it's earning him lots of money, in which you've got stream after stream after stream of comments by young kids saying they don't want to die. I mean, what sort of chap does that? Just made up stuff. It's absolute nonsense. They aren't going to die. There's no risk of anything. Just like the Daily Express, making stuff up. And so YouTube has a policy of not showing ads on videos that it considers unethical. For instance, a video of someone being, for instance, an ISIS video of someone being executed, then they wouldn't show ads on that. But they wouldn't show ads on something that promotes terrorism, or something. Some of them is actually illegal, so they just remove the video. But if it's not illegal, then there's certain ranges of things. So I don't know about those 2, but maybe they'd be removed, and they wouldn't even be legal on YouTube. But if things that are actually legal, then they would but that are very ethically dubious, then they don't show ads on them. And both YouTube and the advertisers don't want that either. So I think YouTube should include this as the ones that don't have ads, because that's for most of the people who do these YouTube videos. Then they're just doing it for ad revenue. They've learnt that if they say Earth is about to be hit, then they get millions of views, thousands of views, and sometimes millions of views. Hundreds of thousands of views. I think it might be, millions of views. So some of these channels, there's YouTube channels to avoid, and some of them get into millions of views. Millions of views. Yeah, I was just sort of checking my memory, and there we are in that one. How do I go to the actual video? There must be a quick way to get to it. But yes, so I'll add links to these to the bottom of my petition. This is the similar one. So that's a petition to That's spaghetti. You can vote to save the spaghetti monster if you so wish, just to kind of draw attention to that one. But yes, stop running fake news, and the YouTube one. I got them all. Alt ads. So yeah. So then there must be a quicker way to doing that. There's probably a link I can click on the page if I can't see it. So that is to YouTube to tell them to stop doing these. That's asking YouTube, could you add Doomsday videos to your exclusion clause for ads? Because I think that would get rid of quite a lot of the Doomsday videos on YouTube. And then to Google, Apple and Facebook do the same in the Facebook trending. Ask them to please stop running them, or else at least to label them as fake news. There's all this thing about fake news nowadays, but they still run these things and they don't label them as fake news. I don't know why. They care about the election in the United States, but they don't care, and fake news about one of the candidates who's running for election. They don't care about fake news about an asteroid about to hit Earth. And I don't know why they don't care about that. I think they should do something about that. That's the spaghetti monster. That's that. Oh, I've left one of them. And then the other one is what was the third one? Debunk, rather than and then this is to journalists rather than to I personally do not think that these sensationalist press are really trying to scare people. If they knew the number of suicidal people that I'm talking to, sometimes suicidal, generally by the time they've got to me and they've read one of my stories, then they're getting over that. But I still do get people who contact me and say that they're feeling suicidal. And then I also get a lot of people just extremely scared and afraid to leave their house, giving up work. Students who've been at university and they won't be able to get through their first year because they're so scared of asteroids and had to go home because they believe these stories. I don't think journalists want that to happen, and then just sitting in their house and afraid to even leave their house. The reason people are afraid to leave their house, it seems counterintuitive, but they're afraid to leave their house because they feel safe inside. They want to be with their family and in their house when they die. That's why they're afraid to leave their house. They think that an asteroid might hit Earth at any moment, and so they don't want to leave their house because they want to be there when they die. It's just so sad, because it's absolute nonsense. And then this really scars them. It really affects them. That once they've seen this all as nonsense, they still have these panics and flashbacks that come back. It's like post-traumatic stress disorder, and I can't remember the severe anxiety disorder or something. No, there's something else that I forget its name. That's a somewhat reduced version of PTSD. But I think some of these are full-blown PTSD. In fact, some of them are diagnosed by the therapist as having PTSD over a doomsday story, with all the the flashbacks and everything. The good news about PTSD and related anxiety disorders, if they're based on a story like this, which all the people I help, I think everyone who has come to me and asked, it's been PTSD or these anxiety-related disorders. It's not a pre-existing anything. They often say they're very happy, just ordinary, normal people, just happy, doing their thing, and then they come across one of these stories in Google News, they go to Google News and they see all this, they believe it, they get very, very scared. They just say, oh, there's all these threats from asteroids, and then that's the end of their happy childhood. That's literally happening. It's happening to many people just now, and and this must stop. Absolutely, it has to stop. That's my view. We have to find a way to stop this. We can't have all these people and you just the few people that I honestly get only a tiny fraction of all the people that are being just scared out of their wits by this fake news in Google. So Google, please stop it. Just stop it. And the same with Apple, and the same with Facebook. Just stop all this nonsense. And you can do it. They could do it in a single day. They are very clever programmers there. Maybe more than that, I don't know. I don't know how modular and easy it is to update Google News, but they're continually doing tweaks to it. So it must be reasonably easy. Just have a little tweak that saying that this is fake news. Just a label, like I said. So please do something about it. You don't even need to remove it. Just label it so people know what it is. And so there's that. And then so to the journalists, then I don't believe that the sensationalist press really want to scare these people. If they knew what they were doing, if they really and truly knew. And it's not at all impossible that some people have killed themselves over these stories. It's entirely possible. And so to the journalists, please, if you're a journalist, then please don't run, even as a joke. Because sometimes the sensationalist press run this. There was a Daily Mail, which is not that sensationalist. I think it was online Daily. Oh, I wish I have it here. Yes, the Telegraph. Sorry, the Telegraph Online. You think of the Telegraph as being a respectable UK newspaper, but they actually ran. This was actually a prediction of a false prophecy, and they predicted that the Earth was going to reel like a drunkard, and that the stars were going to fall out of the sky or something. And it was titled "Why the Earth Will End Surely" on 29th of July 2016. And people are panicking over that. And every time that happens, that's me, emergency mode. Often I mightn't have sleep that night if it's during the night. I just do little naps. It's much better now that we've got all the debunkers on Doomsday Debunked. So they really help. It's no longer like that now. But it was back then. I would do power naps of 20 minutes in order to be back up again and be able to help these scared people. And the ones that were coming to me. And just do a whole series of power naps on the actual evening that the date was that they claimed the world was going to end. And this was 29th of July 2016. Now, what they probably thought it was just so absolutely silly that nobody's going to believe it, but they did it in a humorous serious. We have this sense of humour in the UK, where you say something absolutely straight, and then you're supposed to see that it's funny, but you never even indicate, even the slightest, that it is that funny, and that's supposed to make it more funny. I think that was the idea behind this story. If you're a journalist, please don't run one of those either, and especially not with a countdown timer. Not about the end of the world. You can have a funny joke about spaghetti harvests the spaghetti harvest in Italy, that famous practical joke, but not about the end of the world. So they had the Daily Telegraph Online. They dramatized this with a timer at the end on the head of their page. They had a timer that was counting down the hours and minutes to the end of the world. I wish I'd taken a screenshot, but they removed it when the date went over and ended. But this count was going down, and nothing terrifies the people who are scared of the world ending than a countdown timer, even though you can do it just with a few things of JavaScript. It absolutely terrifies them, and it makes it seem real. And so that was one of my worst ones in 2000. Not the worst. The worst, 2017 September 23 was one of the worst, and then the just recent one we had just now, early on, was one of the worst. The one further back, just quite recently, about. Well, I won't go into that. But anyway, just please, if you are a journalist, please don't run such a story even as a joke. If you're making a joke, right at the top, joke, lame though it is, but you shouldn't. Unless it's the only kind of a joke that really works with people who are vulnerable like this, it has to be extremely, extremely silly, and it's best not to have a date on it, even if it's very silly. So the huge chocolate teapot by Dave Gregg, that is a good joke story. He pokes fun and lampoons these YouTube videos by having this huge chocolate teapot coming in that he put into his astronomy program and showed it coming closer to Earth, and have a long story about how to turn all chocolate into white chocolate. And so that's very funny, and even the most gullible and the most, I'm not necessarily gullible, but the most naive. And remember, some of these people that are scared, they're very young. On Facebook it would be, I think, 13 is at the youngest, but we hear about people much younger than that who get scared by these stories, and people's children as well. We're talking about 7, or on that YouTube video. I've actual videos on YouTube. You actually see the comments by people who self-identify as being 7 years old, who are scared of these stories. Where has it gone? I've lost the. It's on that YouTube video. I think that's got a 7-year-old on it, saying that they don't want to die. Yeah, let's bring it up. I better stop. Well, I don't see why. If this is a little bit of bonus, if you like. So I'll just go on to this. Right, then go to that video. So we don't have that many petitions yet. That's the problem. I want to send this to send this to people. I'm not sure who to send, but I haven't even looked into it, because I don't think that YouTube are going to consider a petition with only 418 signatures. I don't know how to get up the big numbers that people normally get. But if you look, I'm 7. Look, these are quotes from the I'm only 9. I'm going to die. I'm 7. Why? And if you click through there, this is that 7-year-old, it's still there. I did an answer, I'm pretty sure I did an answer on that. But I don't think I got an answer back. He may not have seen my answer. Oh no, this is terrifying. Oh no, that's just ads. So he's ad sponsored, and you can look at this Top Man 2. Bring up in the Social Blade. It'll show me in. If I bring up Social Blade and look up Top Man 2, you can see how much he's earning from his videos. This is only, he doesn't specialize. Some of them specialize entirely in Doomsday videos, but he doesn't. But he does. He has them as one of his. And then look how many. He's had 17,000 likes, and 1.8 million views, and 5.2 thousand dislikes, and he's got 378,000 subscribers. And this is no longer the top. It's a year ago. If you do it short, and he's got 50,302 comments, and many of those will be young kids saying that they're afraid of dying. And he just doesn't even care. I talked to him. I contacted him via social media, and he's asked, could you put up a note on here? At least put up a note in the header saying not true or something, that none of this is true, because none of them are true. And not interested. So yes, he said he wouldn't do any more videos like that, but I think he did too. So this is how much he's earning. You can understand why. He's got this is the amount, estimated yearly earnings. Oh, he's not one of the really big earners, but he's earning. So we have. Some of them earn up to hundreds of thousands and even more. But he's the Social Blade. I only know of one example of one who's disclosed it, and the one who disclosed it was more than double the upper figure there. So you could be earning as much as 40,000, 50,000. It's possible from his videos. and some, presumably that range means there's some lower number, but it doesn't go up beyond. It's certainly many, some, at least one, I know one earns more than double the top. Anyway, so I'll add the links to the videos, but the main thing is this is just all fake. So yes, let's go back. What do I want to do? Yes, so I've done all that. I debunked that diagram. Yes, so that's that diagram is absolutely fake, and this is fake, and this is just all years. All this is Freddie Starr. Freddie Starr. All this is that. That's what you're getting scared by. You're getting scared by lots and lots of Freddie Starr ate my hamster type asteroid stories. Any questions, do say in the comments, and I hope this helped a bit.